introduce myself?
I will. Okay, today I'm interviewing Whitney Sederberg. Hello, Whitney.
Hello,
Let's
Miles.
start off. The very first question, which is, if you were to break up your life in different chapters or segments, how many would there be, and what would they be about?
Probably pretty common for most people our age, like before like elementary school, middle school, and then I guess like pre-pandemic high school and post-pandemic high school.
So what are the main, say, parts of those chapters? What was the main memory, or what changed in you during each of those?
Yeah. I honestly, I don't remember much about elementary school.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I know some people who do, but middle school too, I guess. I feel like beginning high school, I was kind of the same as I was in middle school, but definitely over the pandemic, I changed the most. Like, I think like 3 days into the pandemic, I like pierced my ears with a needle, and then I like got bangs or something. But yeah, just like, I mean, I think that getting older is just realizing that the world is a lot smaller than it seems.
Less grand.
Yeah, interesting, but not important.
I can relate. I noticed that when I think back on myself from many years ago, it seems as if I'm living a smaller head. Like the world is much, I don't know, grander and larger.
Yeah, for sure.
And now as time has gone on, I expanded my head, one could say, more free.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely, since the pandemic, like, realized that there's a lot of interesting things in life that I'm happy I can experience now. Like, I've been trying to try a lot of new, like, cuisines and kinds of food. I started reading a lot over the pandemic, too, so.
Oh, that touches on that nicely. So what genres do you read most?
Definitely fiction and memoirs, I guess, because memoirs are, like, pretty narrative nonfiction, I guess, yeah.
So which memoirs have you enjoyed the most, or which ones have really touched you?
I think the first memoir I ever read that like made me interested in them was this one called In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park, but she's like a North Korean defector.
Yeah.
And she like escaped when she was 14. I think I was also 14 when I read it, so I was like, whoa. But right now I'm reading this one called Know My Name by Chanel Miller. And it's about this woman who like had to go through the legal system after she was in that like Stanford rape case. And it's just like, it's really well written. I would highly recommend, but just like experiences of people who've experienced a lot, but without making you feel small, I guess. That's why I like memoirs, I guess.
It's kind of actually what I'm trying to do here.
Oh my gosh. Am I giving you my verbal memoir?
Memoir. There you go. You look back at this in like 15 years' time. Or reference my English class when you're 80.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to fiction. So what types of fiction do you read the most? Which authors?
I think if I had to choose a favorite author, I like Japanese, like translated fiction a lot right now. Probably Murakami, but critically, like, you know, knowing that he writes in a very male, sexist way, but he's just very good at writing.
Yeah.
My favorite by him is probably like Norwegian Wood or Kafka on the Shore, but I also like Ruth Ozeki, who's Asian American, and she's like local too. So they both do a lot of magical realism, which I think is a very interesting genre. Yeah. No, you would like magical realism a lot.
So what makes you like their writing style? Like, is it the plot? It's magical realism? Is it the way they describe things?
Yeah. I don't know why people like Murakami, I guess. He's just so good at writing. Like, I think, you know, if, like, I don't know about you, but if I had to choose between, like, a very interesting plot and, like, really good writing, I'd always go for good writing. Like,
I don't know. It's a very, very tough one. And so what I like to do, I like to take, like, ideas or events in the plot, kind of expand them, and then put them onto my life or the world or whatever, and play with them. So though very writing is really good, helps you kind of go for all sides of the thing. Let's do in the moment. The plot, I feel like one can get more out of given time.
Yeah. I get that for sure. I guess I like reading really mundane stories sometimes too, where, I mean, I've definitely had to put books down just because the writing was so hard to get through. But I can understand that. Like, that's why I like magical realism, I guess, because you can kind of...
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
It's the middle ground. Hello, first over there. There you go. Okay. Pure authenticity.
Yes.
Okay, so how about if you only have one book to read? So you're on your deathbed.
Yeah, I only have time to read one left.
There you go. You have a week left to say, but you can read 1,000 pages in a day. Is that good? What book would you read?
I feel like I'd take the whole week deciding what to read. So I just like...
That does fit you.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Okay. Probably like a book I haven't read, I guess. Just 1Q84 because it's so long and I've been meaning to get to it. So I guess if I'm dying, then I'll have time to read it.
My story. I actually thought that was the original 1984.
Oh, no way.
I was like, I want to say in third grade, like the shelf, I saw 1Q84.
Yeah.
1984. I'm like, this is a giant book.
Yeah.
I tried reading it. I was very, very confused.
Yeah. I mean, it has all the magical... I've, like, read a little bit of it, but it's so long. I mean, it's not that I hate long books. I've read long books before, but, I mean, you know, high school, it's very time-consuming.
Yeah, the time commitment.
Yeah.
Like Mr. French, he reads, like... I remember he's Stephen King, and it takes, like, a really long time to read the book. It's, like, it took him 7 years to read a series of 7 books.
Huh.
She's a 6 series, but it was a good series, he said.
Yeah.
It really likes to kind of visualize it, you know? Each moment is a picture or a painting or a treasure, one could say. So how do you picture things when you read? Is it very tangible, like you can almost touch it? Much more elusive, if you think about it, you kind of try to look at it in your mind, it vanishes.
Yeah. You know, I know some people who just, like, they read really quickly, but, I mean, do you have, like, an inner monologue when you read?
Kind of, yeah, there's a detached part of me. Like, my tone of voice I hear in my head, getting older, it's, I don't know, it's slower than I am. And then it's much more calmer and older, I'd say. Kind of like a professor reading.
Yeah, no, me too, for sure. Like, I read kind of slow because of that, because I, like, hear everything and take a while to take things in. But people I know, like, they just don't have that, so they just, like, read really quickly.
I can do that, but it's much less enjoyable.
Yeah,
it's like I can kind of scan over an article and then a newspaper. I'm trying to leave the house or whatever, and read really fast. But I comprehend it much less, and I get the main details from it, and it detracts from the experience.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I remember I saw this video by, like, the fastest reader in the world or something, and he, like, gave tips on how to read really quickly. But I just, like, I don't know. I would never do that for, like, a novel or something.
I agree.
Yeah.
So let's go back on track. Let's go to your early life. So what's the earliest memory you have? Or one of them?
So I take a second.
That's fine.
I guess, like... I don't know why this is so hard. Okay. Cut that out. I don't know about that one, actually.
Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Okay, we'll move on.
Yeah.
So let's look at your friends throughout your life. So what kind of friends you have in elementary school versus, let's say, middle school? They change. You keep some. How do you and them develop together?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think I've always tried to be friends with more extroverted people because, like, something I value a lot in a friendship is just being able to be, like, comfortably quiet together and just, like, not feel the need to talk.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't know if I'm a quiet person, but I guess talking is tiring. Anyways, I tend to become friends with people, like just through shared interests and people who like expand my worldview through things that they're interested in that I guess I by proxy am now too. Like friends are definitely how I got into finer literature and whatnot, and like exploring new mediums of art and everything.
So, let's see. Can you give some examples of the friends that got you into, say, finer literature or art?
Oh, yeah. So, I guess last year I was in like AP Physics, which, depending on the year, it's more seniors or more juniors. I think last year it was junior heavy, but there were only like 3 girls in my class, so Mr. O'Leary seated us all at the same table, the like lady table or something. So we all just like kind of were forced to become friends. But they're both seniors, so like they're in college now. But they were in like AP Lit, so they would have me read along with them sometimes. And actually, that's not true. Cut that out. My friend got me into Toni Morrison though, because they read Song of Solomon. I wouldn't read along with that.
Well, did you want to?
Yeah, but you know, I gotta read when the time comes. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that. Okay, but now that she's like in college, I guess, taking all these interesting ethnic studies classes, like I'm just learning a lot that is interesting, I guess. I don't know. It's cool being friends with people who are smarter than you. Like, it's definitely always really fun. Yeah. Would highly recommend.
Gain more.
Yeah.
Like, teaching can be useful, but I definitely want to learn more than that you teach. Kind of refine your knowledge as you teach.
Yeah.
So you get into kind of see it from someone else's view.
Yeah. I love learning. I'm so excited to go to college. Yeah.
Okay, let's go into middle school. So how do you describe Whitney of middle school?
I don't know. Probably not very fun to be around.
Why is that?
I think I just took everything really seriously. Like, but also not. I don't know. So, yeah. I went to Lincoln Elementary School, which was very, like, laid back, I guess. I don't know. It was fun, but if you know anyone who went there, like, we just, like, didn't learn math. So going into middle school was pretty tough academically for me. Also, just going from, like, a pretty much all-white environment to, like, a more diverse one was interesting. But I don't remember too much from middle school. I think I kind of just, like, blocked it out. But
was it not a fun time?
Yeah. I mean, was it for anyone? I don't know.
It was for me. But
yeah, that's
I'm
good.
a pretty extroverted person.
Yeah.
I just kind of enjoy doing things for the sake of doing them. So tedious work, as long as I kind of do it fast and kind of challenge myself, I find that's a lot of fun. Like note-taking, it's the challenge of getting everything down to a piece of paper and seeing it done nicely is enough of a reward.
Yeah. No, I get that for sure. Like, when I draw, my favorite part of drawing is doing, like, the tiny little details that, like, give you carpal tunnel and stuff. Yeah.
How do you describe a single day of your normal life in middle school?
In middle school?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, when did middle school start? Like 8:30, I guess?
Did you go to...
I went to Reeves.
Oh, Reeves, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think it started at 8:30, so I probably woke up at like 8 or 7:30. I've always been very careful about skincare, I guess, so definitely wash my face, get to school sort of on time. But I remember, I think about this a lot. Like, I don't know what I did when I got home. Like, especially now that high school keeps you pretty busy after school, I have no idea of what I did when I got home. Like, probably just drew a lot.
So do you have any activities outside of school?
Oh, in middle school?
Yeah. I do not.
Yeah. I've always done Taekwondo, I guess, which I was more into in middle school. I mean, I haven't really been able to do it since the pandemic, but it was a very valuable experience. I think that's like the reason I'm disciplined at all.
I see. That's good. So it's how you discipline, I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah.
How did you do that?
Self-discipline is so hard. Like, I could barely wake up to get here this morning.
I'd say it depends on people to people. It's like for some things, I'm really disciplined at like waking up on time. And other things I just really don't care. They're really easy. It's like ELA assignments. Well, it's like a paragraph or two. You could do it the night of. Like I could do it the day in school, or I could just do it at night or in the morning. So let's do it one of those times and turn in the same result.
Yeah, I mean, try not to get like early onset senioritis. Like it's real, I guess. Just especially as your worldview is opening up, your friends are getting into college, like things just seem to not matter as much anymore. So you kind of have to learn how to do things just because you like doing them.
That's definitely me.
Yeah.
For example, we can say, I think Monday or so, at track practice where you're doing in a group kind of tournament where you're doing different running events or not. Mm-hmm. I have 4 events. You have the 200 hurdles, the 400, the 1 mile, and the 300. So 800, 300, all right, so 4 events. I was the only person to do all of them. And as my friends asked me, why are you doing all of them? Answer is always, because it's fun.
Yeah.
Especially the main motivator of my life. How about you? What motivates you to get out of band?
Knowing that I'll be able to get back in bed like just a few hours later, you know. I mean, I guess especially on days where I don't have like work after school, it's a bit easier. But I don't know. I enjoy being productive sometimes. Like art, I guess. I don't know. A lot of times people ask me like how I can spend like 15 hours on like a little square of drawing and stuff. I mean, I enjoy doing it, but sometimes it's draining. But definitely just imagining how things will look at the end of it. Mm-hmm. Like imagining graduation, or just always having something to wait for.
I see, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's much more the journey, one could say. Mm-hmm. The ending, it's nice, whatever. I spent a year doing work on a project, and it's pretty large in middle school. And I got very little joy out of actually completing it. But it was the fun of coming after school or before school, with Mr. Morris and working on it. Actually, was the fun part. Did you notice that too? It's like the completing of the tiny little square, actual completion. It's the doing that detail right here, one here.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, like, I have fun doing things, but I always realize how fun it was after I've done it.
I see.
Like, I'm a very, what's it called? Like, goal-oriented person. So, I'm just always trying to get there as fast as I can. And then when I get there, it's like, oh, nowhere left to go.
I can relate. How has that served you throughout your life? Positive, negative, a bit of both?
A bit of both. Like, you know, after you finish a goal, you're kind of in a slump. So it's kind of hard to get out of that. Like, you're always going in and out of that. Especially, like, doing creative things like art or writing, you know. I mean, you know, like writer's block exists, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So, well, it's the down part of it. So the down part is the tiny little slope where you have nothing else to do. Mm-hmm. How do you say you get out of that slope? Do you find something to do? Do your friends talk to you and you figure out, hey, let's do this thingy? Do you look for the future and say, this thing's neat, I'll go over here?
Yeah, a lot of times I feel like I'm never going to get out of a slump. Like, I just kind of try different things. Like, if I've been working with colored pencil, I'll try painting or using charcoal. Or if I'm writing, I'll just try reading a lot. But, you know, sometimes you get in a reading slump, too. Like, you just have trouble getting into any books.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I don't even know how people get out of those. Like, it just happens, and you just hope it happens quicker next time.
I don't know. For me, it's just, like, time passes. For me, things tend to reset after a day. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little longer, but just a day.
Yeah, no, things always get better. Things always reset. Like, even just being stressed out, like, a week from, I don't know, like, if you have a test or something, like, a week after it it's just kind of a nothing, which is nice. That always, like, if I'm ever stressed out, I just think, like, 1 week from now, I'm not even going to be thinking about this.
I definitely.
Yeah.
Like a month from now, I'm not going to remember it all. It's kind of what happens to me. Time moves pretty fast for me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into your freshman year. You are now in currently.
Yeah.
How would you describe yourself from good old 3 years back?
I thought, I don't know, this sounds kind of cheesy, but I thought I had things figured out, I guess. Like, I thought I knew what I was doing.
And that was me in 5th grade.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can always think of a time when you thought you knew something. Like, right now, I feel like I have things somewhat figured out enough to, like, reflect on them. But I know that in college or something, I'll, like, listen to this and feel so dumb. But, I definitely still cared a little bit too much. Like, I mean, there's, like, nothing wrong with makeup and stuff, but I used to wear, like, a lot, and it's just so time consuming. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm giving advice now, but
That's fine.
just, like, things don't matter. I mean, everyone tells you this all the time probably, but things don't matter as much as you think they do. Freshman year is fun because you get a lot of free time. Sophomore year too. I mean, sophomore year is probably the most fun year because, like, you have the balance of free time, but also more self-awareness. But definitely, I don't really wish I did anything different. As long as you're, like, trying a sufficient amount of new things and new clubs, like, I don't think you're going to regret anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anyone who, like, regrets their freshman year. Like, it's just kind of a time to learn things.
So what new clubs or activities did you try?
I was definitely into debate. Mm-hmm. Very fun. That's when I started getting into, like, TEDx Olympia High School. I was giving a speech for it. I was also, like, really into Taekwondo then. So I ended up, like, taking my 2nd degree black belt test on the same day I, like, gave a TED talk.
So it must have been nice.
Yeah.
Or stressful.
I remember that day thinking, wow, how am I ever going to, like, beat this year? Like, how am I going to do better than this? Which, like, I definitely have done better. Like, you'll always do better. But I just, like, try to fill up my time, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that, because, you know, American, what's the word? Not exceptionalism, but, like, American mindset is just always be working and productive. Mm-hmm. Another big part of getting to be a senior is just knowing that it's important to not work sometimes too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, technically, there's a lot of studies that show you don't need self-care. Like, I forget what the word is, like, infinite, some kind of mindset, I guess. Like, you don't need to take a break as long as you don't think you do. Like, you can work for hours and hours. But, I mean, it's still kind of difficult to get into that mindset. So, like you might get tired, and it's okay if you just don't want to, like, be in that mindset. Because, like, you know, if everyone's in that mindset, then you're going to have to push yourself harder and harder. And it's okay if you just don't want to do that sometimes.
So how do you get out of that mindset? I'm assuming you have gone in that mindset times. You said you've done art for 15 hours. So how do you get out of it? What do you do to relax, to take a break?
I guess, like, I have trouble getting into it enough. Well, the art mindset's a little bit different. Like, you're in a state of, it's called, like, flow, I guess. Where you can just, like, work and not even notice things, which is really nice. It's very meditative. I guess it's, like, the same thing when you play music, or, I don't know, probably when you do sports. I haven't done that for a long time, though. I don't know about, like, homework, though. I have a hard time getting into flow for that sometimes. I feel like I shouldn't be giving, like, self-care tips. I'm so bad at it. Just, like, things get better is all I can say.
Yeah, only the kind of optimistic see the sun behind the clouds type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just, time passes. Time fixes things.
Okay, let's get on to you before the pandemic and you after the pandemic. You said that there was a major shift in your personality, let's say, between these two time periods.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I mean, I think for everyone I don't know about like pre-high school, but definitely in high school, like if you weren't there, but like, I don't know. Definitely coming back from high school though, everyone was just like really well dressed. I think people had been waiting to like wear nice clothes, but you couldn't go outside for so long. So I mean, everyone definitely changed. During the pandemic, I had to like work a lot at my family's restaurant. So just like, being able to work for a long time is definitely a skill you need to pick up. Like I was working since my freshman year. So like when I was a freshman, if I had to do like a 4-hour shift, I'd be like, oh my God, I have to work for 4 hours. But like now I can do like an 11-hour shift and I'll be fine.
That's good.
But yeah, I mean, it's not great, but like.
Well, it's a good thing in general. You need to be able to know your limits. Mm-hmm. You don't push yourself. You don't know how far you can go.
Yeah, for sure. I guess. Yeah, like endurance is something that is learned. Just like discipline, I guess. Like I think in high school that's applicable to like grades and stuff. Like a lot of grades is really just what you put into it. Like I think I say this a lot, but a lot of people say that like getting a 4.0 or getting good grades is really easy, but all you have to do is just try. And like I think that's true to an extent, like, but just trying is really hard. Like trying and being able to just work for a long time.
It's overcoming oneself. Yourself is the problem in school or in life, I'd say, for most people. It's overcoming your, mind and wanting to do over here rather than look at this page and annotate it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and like for some people, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to try, like, and if people don't see the value in getting good grades, which is fair, like, it's all about what you decide it is. Then it's like, and like for people who aren't neurotypical or people who have like really difficult home situations, like, what we put value on as a society is just like, it favors a very specific kind of person. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm lucky enough to just be able to like work for a long time and be in a pretty good, be from a pretty good household that I've just been able to like be successful in what American people value.
It's more like the West or more of West like parts of Asia, I think.
Yeah.
But the question is, you mentioned your family owns a business.
Oh, yeah.
If I was to walk into your family's business and then your family's house, what would I see? What would be similar? What would be different?
Oh, the business in the house. Well, the funny thing is, like, we spend so much time at the restaurant, like my mom and me, like definitely way more time than at our house. Because, I mean, I live in like a split household, so I'm only at my mom's house like 1 or 2 nights a week. Mm-hmm. But like by far we're like what? Let's see. When we like work a long Saturday shift, like at the restaurant, when we go home, we just like don't talk to each other. We just go straight to our rooms and like decompress. Mm-hmm. But like the house is pretty empty. Like, I guess we've only had it for 10 years now. But there's still no decorations on the walls or anything. Like our boxes still aren't unpacked and stuff because we've just been working so much on our restaurant, which is only a few years old. Or, I mean, it's like old, but we only got it a few years ago.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So like if we get gifts or flowers or something, they go up in the restaurant. It's definitely like where our home is, I guess.
How about your dad's house? If I walk into that one, how would it be different? What would I see at first? Would it be a couch? Would it be a mirror? Would there be a plant?
A lot of art. So like my dad used to be a professional artist. He actually met my mom at the Whitney Art Museum. Oh, that's my name. Oh my God. Yeah. So there's just so much art in our house. And like my stepmom's dad was an artist. So like I mean, that's why I like art, I guess. Just a lot of that. Windows, colorful. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of studies that show just having art up around is really good for you, but it's also just fun.
So, what job do you do? Do you do the chef, dish person, waiter, or all of them?
Definitely all of them. So especially in small businesses, there's usually only 2 people per shift. So like most often it's like my mom and me. So my mom's going to be like cooking and I'll be doing everything else. I'll cook a little bit, but I'll talk to customers and everything. Yeah, customer interaction is definitely something everyone should do. It's kind of awful, but it's fun in retrospect, I guess. Let's see, like last week, or maybe it's 2 weeks ago now, but this guy, actually, I probably shouldn't get political on here, but...
Oh, it's fine.
Is it fine? Okay.
I have a pretty large license.
Okay. So this guy came in, and a lot of people complain about our prices, which have gone up since the pandemic. It's like a whole $12 for a teriyaki meal. Oh my God. But he came in, he was like, $12? He's like, Brandon, am I right? So I was like, what? He was like, yeah, it's because of Biden. It's like, I mean, as long as it's not mad at me, I'm fine, I guess. Like, it's not like Biden called us and told us to raise our prices or something. Yeah. But like, I was just like, thank you for understanding. And then so my mom's recently started doing this thing where she sells these like knockoff luxury purses, which is kind of funny. But anyways, he saw them. He was like, are those real? I was like, no. He was like, how much are they? I said, oh, like $300, $350. He was like, that much for a knockoff? I was like, actually, that's a really good price. So I started getting like all mad and stuff. And then there was this like grandfather and his granddaughter eating dinner. So he started like talking to them. He's like, can you believe it? They're like selling them for $300. And they just like didn't even react. But he started like yelling at me and called me like unchristian.
That's odd.
I know.
That's an odd one.
That's an odd one. I've been called a lot of things at the restaurant, but unchristian, that was like the first time. And then he like left he left and the grandfather was like, hey, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just like not evangelical, I guess. I don't know.
That is an odd person, I must say.
Yeah. I mean, you meet a lot of weird people.
I see. I feel like it should be, if you're entering someone else's business or home, just do as Romans do. You should be kind of polite to them. Yeah. No,
you know, there's bad things like that. And then there's good things. Like last week, someone came in and he like bought some food, or he like ordered food. And then he came back to pick up his food, but like with a bouquet of flowers. I was like, hey, I noticed your flowers were looking wilted, so here's a new bouquet. It's just so nice. Like, I don't know, people are pretty cool. I think everyone's like good, but especially in customer service, people tend to like, what's the word? Their anxieties come out, I guess. Like, one time, this lady, she came in with a family, and she asked if our General Tso's chicken had celery and water chestnuts in it. And I was like, we don't have... for context, my family's restaurant is like a Japanese-style teriyaki restaurant. So I was like, we don't have General Tso's chicken. And she said, oh, so this isn't an authentic Chinese restaurant? I said, no, this is a Japanese restaurant. She was like quiet for a bit. And then later she called me out there and she was like, can I have wasabi? And she ordered sweet and sour chicken for context. So I was like, we don't have wasabi. She was like, I thought this was a Japanese restaurant. You don't have wasabi? I said, well, this is a teriyaki restaurant. We don't serve sushi. And she said, but isn't this a Japanese restaurant? And then it just like went on for so long. So her daughter or something was like, hey, please stop, Mom. And I just like ran away. I hid in the kitchen the whole time. But then when she came up to pay, she was like, hey, I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what got into me. I've been really stressed out because of the pandemic. Like, I might lose my job and stuff. And I was like, I've never had, that's the only time a customer has ever, like, apologized to me.
I see.
Like, it's really cool when a stranger apologizes to you. But I don't know. Everyone's really stressed out right now. And I don't think that, like, warrants being, like, a terrible person. Or I don't think that excuses, like, bad behavior.
Yeah.
But being, like, rude back to someone isn't really going to help right now.
Kind of like the stoic idea of if something bad happens to you, try to deal with the best of what you can do and try to act honorably from it. Kind of sort of that.
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing to add to that. That's good.
Okay, so on to the topic of stress.
Uh-huh.
So what do you say causes most stress for you in your life? Either from an outside force or from, more interestingly, your own actions?
Mm-hmm. Definitely my own actions. Like, I mean, if you think about it, like the things that cause you stress. Actually, this doesn't apply to everyone. I probably shouldn't generalize like
most
this.
people, I feel like.
Yeah, or at least like people who are, like your main like thing that you're doing in your life right now is like school. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess during the pandemic, of course, I was worried about like financial stuff and the restaurant and everything. But now that I'm back in school, I have time to worry about like calculus.
Fun.
Fun. People have probably told you if you've like signed up for hard classes, like you brought this on yourself. You didn't have to sign up for that AP or you didn't have to like do that extracurricular. Like you can just drop it if you're like that worried about it. But there's a lot of pressure from like college and school and everything to just push yourself past your limits. Mm-hmm. But even so, like things like tests and exams and whatever like that, they stress me out, but they seem manageable. The things that stress me out the most are like little things, like if I think that I like messed up in a social interaction during the day, that'll keep me up all night, and especially if I like messed up pretty bad, like I just embarrassed myself, I'll feel like so awful and out of it that I probably like can't do homework the whole day. Which, I mean, when I tell my parents that, they think it just sounds silly. Like they'll be like, "Oh, your teacher probably didn't even like notice or remember that."
Most people did not notice.
Yeah, I mean, and they never do. Like they don't. Like no one cares as much as you do. But when you're a teenager, like everything feels so important, and you just want to like care about everything. But that's not good for you. Which but it's just...
Well, not really.
No?
look at me compared to most people. I actually care about things happen to me pretty low.
Yeah,
you look through my writings about myself and the world around me, it really is shown in that. And that's kind of a nice. Major... No.
No?
It's either side. Either side.
Right.
See, if you don't care about most things that much, well, you don't have much joy. I mean, I have lots of joy, but you're kind of limited to only parts of the human spectrum emotions. That's kind of why I'm doing this, kind of to relate to other people as well. Yeah, so you don't want to be in either extreme, really. At least for most things. I want to be near the middle.
That's a really interesting point. Yeah. No, I got that. I mean, emotions are just like hard, I guess. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I realize like, wow, I'm in a high school right now. Like, I'm in this tiny building with all these little rooms that I have to like go back and forth through every day. And I mean, it just feels like weird because you're only here for 4 years, but they're pretty important.
Maybe they're there.
Yeah.
So one could say that high school is kind of like a mini world. You can condense the entire world into one building, kind of get a high school. Now, add in some monetary transactions, and there you go.
Like the vending machines and student stores.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Have a trading economy of snacks, whatever, and get the real world. On the stock market. No, but what would you say have you taken away from high school the most? What lessons have you learned? That could be applied to the broader world.
That's hard to say. Like, I mean, I can't say I haven't learned anything from high school, but it's definitely not things that I feel will be, I mean, a lot of people say this, like, nothing you learn in high school is going to be useful for the real world or whatever.
It's more stuff that you learn unconsciously. I mean, like socialization.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, and I mean, it's kind of true, but, like, it's hard to prepare someone for the real world without, like, ejecting them into it. Like, I've learned way more about the real world through my job than I have through high school.
Definitely.
Yeah, like, especially with just interacting with weird adults and strangers and stuff, and, like, knowing that, like, teachers are also just weird adults who've been put into a position of authority. Where was I going? Oh, okay. But what I've learned from high school, I guess it's hard to say right now since I haven't had time to apply a whole lot of it. For math classes, I probably learned the most in geometry that's applicable to the real world. Because I do art, I guess. I know, not for other people. You can cut that out. That wasn't very interesting. I'm trying to, like... I guess just how to find interest in things that other people are interested in. Like...
How'd you relate?
Yeah, and, like... I mean, we already talked about how, like, you have to learn how to like things in order to study them. Like, you have to like reading to do lit or, like, parts of math in order to do calculus or something.
Well, it's more, I don't need to like it. You could do something, but be much more brute will and strength rather than a passionate.
Yeah.
I'm going to apply myself this with passion, and apply myself with sheer force of will.
Yeah. Just pick yourself up by your bootstraps and make yourself like it. I don't know. That probably works for some people.
Yeah, I'd say it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
You can do all of it or most of it just by pure force of will, at least some can. But in the long run, you aren't going to do anything that you're going to, want to do by pure force of will. You kind of need a balance.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's get into your future. It's a fun time for you.
Okay.
No, don't worry. Yeah. I can be talking about colleges or anything like that.
Oh, thank you.
You already thought about that way too much, probably. Okay, imagine yourself at age 30. So that'd be 12 years from now. So if you were to cut your age in half, basically, and add it to your current age, that'd be 30, roughly. So how would you be? I think you would, I don't know, what would you have? What direction would you be going toward, ideally?
I hope I have, like, free time to, like, read and sit around and stuff. I mean, hopefully I have that in college too, of course, but let's see. So, how do I explain? Okay. The restaurant life is just kind of draining and tiring and stuff. So I feel bad for my mom a lot because she's, like, always working and stuff. And she's just always so tired. And she's, like, excited for me to go to college. But I know, like, she like, dropped out of college to get married. Okay, so she's, like, from Korea, but she, like, immigrated and went to, like, a religious college for a bit and then dropped out to marry my dad. And she talks about college a lot, even though she never got to finish it. So I asked one time, and she said that if I make enough money, then she'll go back to college. So I'm just hoping. I don't know how much money 30-year-olds make, but
Depends.
you know.
Depends on the fields.
Yeah, maybe it'll be enough to send my mom to college. So that's just that's where I hope I'll be, financially, at least.
So what do you want your day-to-day life to be at 30 years old?
I hope I have a cat. Hope I have that downtime and stuff, and that I like my job, that I have a job.
Mm-hmm. I think you'll have a job.
I don't know. I'm getting an English degree. That was probably mean to people who got English degrees, but.
Well, you can do a lawyer, an English lawyer,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure you want to do that, given you want free time.
Yeah, I hope I'm not a public defender. I hope I'm working at a
yeah.
fancy law firm that pays me way too much for what I do.
Well, it depends on how much. For instance, my aunt, she's a lawyer. I mean, she's up in the middle of the night just to take calls and cases. So I really want to say very little life. It's kind of what lawyers are paid. It's like sacrifice your life for money. That way, the few hours that you have a life are more enjoyable.
I guess so. I mean, that brings up a good point. Right now, all I can think about is wanting free time. But, during the summer when it's a lot more, when you have all that free time, you kind of just want structure in your life.
Yeah. I'm actually a very good person for that. For instance, if I wanted to, I could stop everything I'm doing and have 11 hours of free time a day.
Yeah.
I literally track. I spent 3 to 6, and then I homework for 15 minutes, and then morning, leave my own time, 5 to 8:50. I could do that, and get until the time to be on school on time as well.
Uh-huh.
So believe me when I tell you, you don't want free time. You want a tiny bit of free time. You never want extremes or anything.
Uh-huh.
You kind of want a few hours here and there. You want I want to say for me, 4 hours. Then the rest of it should be kind of busy because I want to be doing something. That's why I'm doing this.
That's a good point. There's days, I'm sure everyone has these, where I have to be at school early in the morning, and then I have to go straight to work after school, and then I'll get home really late. It's tiring, but filling your day with stuff can be really fun sometimes. And you'll feel good when you get home. I did something, but too many of those in a row, you just feel like garbage.
That's true.
Yeah.
I should make a little asterisk to that, an appendix.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it's more about taking free time consciously, spending a Saturday just walking around in the woods,
Yes.
in a lake, and reading Hemingway at night. That's a nice Saturday.
Uh-huh.
But if you're forced upon you, then you're much more directionless. Kind of sitting there wondering, well, I'm on a chair. It's a world around me, but it's kind of empty, and I don't know what to do. And I could read, I could write, but as you relate, I don't want to do any of those things. Kind of in the slump of I have nothing to do, yet not enough time to do anything new.
Yeah.
Not consciously taking the free time that you have.
Yeah. The best free times are when you've been working a lot and then you have a free day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Uh-huh. I don't know, when you're talking about that, I was just thinking of Thoreau, sitting in the woods with all his free time, having his mom do his laundry and writing about why he hates society. I think maybe that's just what every teenager wants to do, though.
Now, for me, it's much is a good question. What do you write about?
Oh, let's see. All I've been writing lately is just college stuff and scholarships. So I guess about my life. When I was younger, I used to fill up those tiny notebooks with novels and whatever. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I haven't done creative writing for a little while. I guess other than poetry club stuff. I like to, I'm a big journaler. I enjoy writing about little things that happen and tactile imagery, and then like reading back over it and a few months later and just thinking about it.
Interesting. For me, I do keep a journal as well, but it's much more a journal of my thoughts and kind of self-reflecting upon my emotions and whatnot from some event or something. It's interesting. The tiny details I kind of gloss over. The broader substance that I pay attention to.
Yeah.
But
I do some self-reflection too, I guess. But there's like this one passage that I wrote when I was like staying in a field over summer break last year that I just like love going back and reading because it just like makes me happy to think about like wind and trees. I guess that's why people read though, so I could just do that too.
No, that's something about looking back and kind of having memory spurred on by some sentence or word. It's much different than having it be told to you. It's like kind of experiencing it anew in a different light as time moves on. Kind of like, imagine that the memory is the microphone, and you're this little hand going around it. As time passes, you have a different view of that memory. And so that's kind of why it's nice to write things down. As it spurs a memory, this little structure, and you move because of time. So you use a new angle to view it.
That's a great way to describe it. I mean, that's why people reread books, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, these books become your memories. So then when you go back and reread it, then you're reminded of your own memories, I guess. Like, where was I going with that? Like, sometimes I'll look at a piece of art I made, and I'll remember what I was what music I was listening to or what podcast series I was going through when I drew that. Like, when I drew that face, I was like listening to a true crime podcast about someone's face being ripped off.
Fun.
Yeah, really fun.
Okay, so if you're given, let's say, a month. There you go. You have a month of free time. You're locked in a room. Say your room is a giant forest, and you only have a typewriter and some water, and of course some food. What would you write? What topics think would kind of pop into your mind?
Well, definitely just imagery, like about what's around me, I guess. I don't know, like do a Thoreau and just like slowly dissolve into my contempt for things. But also, I don't know, I don't write about... I shouldn't say that. I don't think I'd do that. I think I'd... I don't know. I'm very inspired by like what I read, I guess. So,
yeah, same.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd ever be able to pull off like magical realism, but see, I'm like I keep like you ask these questions and I just like don't answer them.
No, that's fine. I'll make it a bit finer. My questions are purposely very vague. Let's say you have to write a poem. What would the poem be about? What are your poems about on average, let's say?
Yeah. All right, I can finish that real quick. I can like hear it. Okay. My favorite books and stuff that I read are definitely character-driven. Mm-hmm. So I'd probably I wouldn't like make up a character, but this is so abstract. Just like motivations or like... just thoughts,
the mundane
contemplations. I love the mundane, like writing about the mundane. I mean, just mundane things are so fun to read and write about, in my opinion.
I do agree. The day-to-day life. Well, Whitney, very good talking to you.
Yeah, good
maybe
talking to you.
Maybe we should do this again.
Yeah.
My list of questions, I got like maybe less than half.
Yeah, no, that was really fun. I mean, definitely more fun than like a college interview.
Yeah. They just have people be interviewed instead of having a